This is the perfect opportunity for Kent Hughes and the Montreal Canadiens, as reports have come out that it's all but official that Adam Henrique will be traded from the Anaheim Ducks, and with Jake Allen seemingly staying put, David Savard seemingly staying put, there has been no better opportunity to use their salary retention spot than right now, so a lot of people are speculating Montreal could be in on this deal. We have to talk about that. Plus, a New York Post reporter indicates the Carolina Hurricanes are listening to calls on star forward Marty Necas. Could the Habs be intrigued by the 25-year-old restricted free agent? We got a lot of awesome stuff to discuss on this episode of Habs Digest. But first, Jesse, I want to talk a bit about Joshua Roy. And look, he has been playing amazing, but he has been doing even better than we thought. This tweet today from Anthony Maltino kind of summarized it. He said Joshua Roy is 22nd on the Habs in terms of average ice time, but look at some of the metrics that he has. Expected goals per 60, he's first. Assists per 60, he's first. Points per 60, he's third. I believe that's shot attempts per 60, he's second. Jesse, Joshua Roy, in the minutes that he is getting, he is making the most out of them, and I know it's been a very small sample size, but he passes the eye test with flying colors as well. He is one of the most impactful Habs, at least over the last little while since he's been on a line with Newhook and Monahan before that. Just some amazing stuff from Joshua Roy. I know we had some high hopes for him. I know we thought that he was maybe one of the more NHL ready prospects coming into the season, but I could not have expected the impact he's had on this team so far.
And Martin St. Louis has noticed that impact, briefly putting him on the first line last night. And you have to feel, if you're somebody like Juraj Slafkovsky, ultra competitive, that had to hurt. But there's a good part about this, because this internal competition really helps bring out the best. But when you're putting up numbers like this, he's also leading the team in suppressing chance suppression and also in generating chances, scoring chances as well. So these are two very good categories to be leading the team. He's a two-way player all the way around, very much like Nick Suzuki. And the thing about Joshua Roy that's really interesting is you almost feel like the more you play him with better teammates, and I can't wait to see him with Kirby Dach, the more he plays better, and also the more that his teammates also improve as a result. Just because he's so intelligent, and then he also has the skill to be able to hang with those big dogs as well, So it's like, because of this intelligence, he's really able to bring out the best in these players around him. So I can't wait. I'm really expecting something very similar to a Slavzilla, where in his second year, he just takes a huge jump in his production.
It wouldn't surprise me. One thing that really jumps off not even the sheet, but off the screen at me when I watch Joshua Roy is his hockey sense. Some of these passes he throws, it feels like he has no business knowing his teammates are where they are, or that the other team isn't, where they're not. Like this kind of stuff. His ability to feel the ice is phenomenal for a guy that is still quite young. What's he, like 20, right? So he's doing some amazing stuff. I'd love to see him with some better alignments as well, like you said, but we saw a glimpse of it last night when Slafkovsky was benched for his lack of discipline. Now, to be fair, Juraj Chadkovsky came right back out and delivered one of the best reverse hits you will ever see on, I think it was Logan O'Connor, in response to that. He has such a great personality. But yeah, just amazing stuff from Joshua Roy. The Habs young guys are showing out, like top 6 guys left and right. Really, really great to see. But let's talk next, Jesse, about a bit about Marty Necas. Now, this is wild, and let me just open this by saying, like we do with some of this stuff, this is pure speculation, but what's not speculation is the fact that the Carolina Hurricanes are, according to the New York Post, maybe listening to calls on Marty Necas. And so this guy from the New York Post, his name is, Larry Brooks. Sorry about that. He said that he got a source that he trusts, a source that's proven to be trustworthy, saying that the Canes have made it known they're willing to listen on Marty Necas. And from a Carolina blog website, they basically said it wouldn't necessarily make sense to trade someone like a Marty Necas, one of their top scorers, in the midst of a playoff push, but it could potentially make sense. Now, Marty Necas, 42 points in 54 games this year, 71 points in 82 games last year. He's 25. He's a restricted free agent at the end of the season. The thing with the Carolina Hurricanes is they have a ton of money coming off the books. They have Brett Pesce coming off the books, Brady Shea. That's like $9.5 million combined. And they have some guys up front, including Necas himself. Like, there's a lot of money coming off the books. Teuvo Teravainen, another 5.5. They're going to have to re-sign some people. I think that Marty Necas probably gets re-signed above anyone else because he's 25, he's an RFA. But Jesse, if they're listening to calls, I mean, you got to think if it's even possible to get a guy of this caliber and you're Kent Hughes, like why not ring the phone, right? The Carolina Hurricanes are going to have a lot of contract trouble heading into next season trying to fill out their roster. So if they can get some solid assets that are ready to play today, why not?
it's a nice match in a lot of ways. And the fact that Carolina, they got a lot coming off the books, but also means they have a lot of players, a lot of big fish like Aho and everything else to re-sign. And that's going to cost a lot of money, right? And of course, we're looking for offense. He kind of fits that need. He's in that time frame of what Kenneth Hughes has talked about, and almost into that established type of category that Kent Hughes said he also wanted. That almost fits perfectly, kind of that prototypical player that very recently Kent Hughes said in a press conference that he was looking for. So of course you have to feel like, Kent Hughes is definitely paying attention to this. But the big question again, I think that Jeff Gordon, that Kent Hughes, Marty St. Louis, all people involved, and even ourselves just as media and fans is Martin Necas, though, the player that's really going to turn the needle, for this team? Is he really the player that's going to take us over that top, right? Because we see right now, we have a good first line, or at least the makings of a good top six there. We got Kirby, Joshua Waugh, maybe he's not ready for a top six yet, but like almost getting there, right? Almost. So I feel like the next player we have to add is a center, either supplanting Suzuki or being just as good. But I mean, Necas can play center as well, right? So you almost feel like you have to consider this. I just don't feel he's that player, though, that takes us over the top. So close, though.
Yeah, Necas is fantastic for sure. But yeah, you're right. He's not really that guy that necessarily puts you over the top. And you got to wonder as well, at a 25-year-old RFA, he's probably going to be demanding a lot of money come this offseason with other teams available to put in offer sheets as well. Not totally sold that Kent Hughes would do it, but it makes sense in a lot of ways. We'd love to hear your guys' opinions on Necas down below. But one much more realistic trade that we have to talk about is Adam Henrique. And we mentioned this a few videos ago, but Adam Henrique, he really feels like one of the top targets that the Montreal Canadiens could go after in the trade market, but not to play for them, but to play as a broker. So Dave Pagnotta from the fourth period, he said that the talk around Ducks forward Adam Henrique seems to have picked up and should continue to escalate in the coming days. It's a matter of when, not if he's traded by the deadline. Ducks all but certain to retain on his deal. And if you guys watch that other video that we posted, you'll know that Adam Henrique is making well over $5 million this season. So to fit on a contending team's roster, well, not only will the Ducks probably have to retain, another team is probably going to also have to step in and retain. And what better team than the Montreal Canadiens, a team that has been no stranger to retaining salaries to make trades work in the past, to gain some extra draft capital, to then maybe trade later. But also because of the fact that, who else are they going to use that spot on this season, Jesse? We've talked about David Savard and Jake Allen being the two top candidates to retain some salary on. Well, it seems like Savard is staying put. By all accounts, it doesn't seem like he's going to get moved. He's happy there. The Habs seem happy with him. And with the goalie market seemingly shutting down, the Oilers apparently not wanting a goalie anymore. Carolina themselves, they are not really looking to add a goalie. New Jersey's more looking for a 1A as opposed to a Jake Allen type. If Jake Allen doesn't have a suitor, Kent Hughes has said that, I don't mind waiting until the offseason. So if Allen's not going to get retained because he's not going to get traded, let's say Savard doesn't get traded, who better to retain on than Adam Henrique? The Habs can play broker, retaining $1 million and a bit of his salary to a contender in favor for some draft picks. I think it makes perfect sense.
Because he's got tons of value. This player is still playing very good hockey, even though he's getting a little bit older. And I mean, you have to like any player that's coming from Brantford, Ontario, right? The home of Wayne Gretzky, and everything else, so he's adding a lot of value. He's not quite the Sean Monahan, but like very, very close. The Ducks could get, exactly a very good return. And that would be so much like Kent Hughes to kind of take advantage of this. He knew he wanted this spot very specifically. So you have to feel like Kent Hughes, he's going to do something involving it by the trade deadline. This retention spot, we seem like it's not a big thing to Kent Hughes, given this flexibility, the maneuverability that it really gives him, and having this can really help this team a lot. It's helped us in a lot of different ways. We've seen that one trade. It just seems like a salary retention, but then that ends up turning into another trade, which really helps us so much in the game of chess that Kent Hughes is playing. So, I mean, this is a player with a lot of value. It seems like could maybe be going to a contender, but, could we get something for kind of playing matchmaker and all of this?
I mean, I think so. And, I was kind of shocked when I looked at his stats. Like, I know Henrique's a good player, obviously, but on this Ducks team, he's only a -2, which is, I think, like, of forwards that play a lot, I think the only forward that is better is, I think, Silverberg. So it's like Henrique has been quite amazing. He's 53% on the faceoff dot, and he has 16 goals, 38 points this season. Like, if the Habs can retain, they could definitely get a pretty penny for doing that. Maybe a 3rd round pick, who knows, something similar along those lines. But what do you guys think? I think of all the trades we've discussed, this makes maybe the most sense. It would not shock me if this happened within the next few days at this point. We'd love to hear from you down below. Which one of these trades do you think is most likely to happen? But which one of these would you want to happen the most? That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We're like less than 10 subs away, I think, when I'm saying this, from 11K. So if you're still watching now and that button is red, hit it. I know you'll enjoy every video that we have to come. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.